Ladies and gentlemen, it is 7 p.m. It is Wednesday, April 10th, and it's time for the Whittier Regional Vocational Technical High School School Committee meeting. And I'm going to call us to order with the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. And Nathan, I'd like you to lead us tonight, please.
Mr. Chairman. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Maybe we'll have more public comment.
Maybe we will. Maybe we will. At this point, is there anyone out there who wants to bring anything before the school committee? We call it the public comment or your opportunity to come up and have something to say. Is there anybody out there? I hear a yeah over there. Who is that? Oh, okay. Charlie, I thought you had a public comment. I heard the yeah. Oh.
My grill.
He's busy.
Hearing nothing, I'd like to move on.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I move the minutes of the regular school committee meeting of March 13th, 2013.
I have a motion to move the minutes. Do I have a second? I have a second from Mr. Murphy. Any comment on the minutes? Everyone have a chance to look at them? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Tucker.
I move the minutes of the annual organizational meeting that we had on Monday evening, April 8th, 2013.
Second. I have a motion and I have a second for those minutes. Any comment on those minutes? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Murphy, do I have a treasurer's report?
In your packet tonight is the treasurer's report.
Thank you.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve a treasurer's report. Do I have a,
Second.
I have a second. Any comment on the treasurer's report? All in favor?
Aye.
Now we're going to go to old business. Ladies and gentlemen, we had put out a self-evaluation of the school committee, and I think we only got
8 responses, Mr.
eight
Chairman.
responses. If you haven't responded, would you please put it on your agenda to get that done and get it back to Mr. DeRosa? That'd be helpful. Thank you. Let's go into the reports and communications. Nathan Frangello.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Boys varsity baseball has had a very good preseason. They've had scrimmages against Central Catholic, Amesbury, and Pentucket High School to get ready for the start of the season. With a lot of senior leadership, the team should be in the hunt for another state tournament berth in Commonwealth Athletic Conference Large School Championship. They opened up the season yesterday against Northeast Regional High School. Girls varsity softball is looking for another successful year with many new additions to the team. They have all of their top hitters back in the batting order, which would make them another offensive power in the Commonwealth Athletic Conference. The team is hoping that this will help them make the state tournament. Boys and girls varsity track and field opened up the season yesterday against Greater Lawrence. Each team has a surplus of kids with 51 girls and 78 boys. The team should be in the hunt for the CAC title. Boys varsity lacrosse is in its 3rd season being a varsity sport here at Whittier. They went to the state tournament last year and looked to keep the winning motto as they tried to make the state tournament back-to-back years. Student government is meeting weekly as they prepare to go to the Northeast Massachusetts School Council on May 2nd. This past Friday, student government and their advisors went to the State House for a luncheon. Elections are coming up soon for the next year's officers. GSA has continued to meet and is planning an after-school event with a group. Also, they are planning to attend an anti-bullying rally on May 17th from 6 to 8 p.m. at Haverhill High School with other area high school students. Drama Club is extremely grateful for the enormous turnout on their performance of High School Musical 2. It was one of their best showings in attendance history. Their choir is still in rehearsal for an upcoming spring event. Model United Nations had a successful debate at UMass Lowell. They were able to take home an abundance of individual medals. The students worked very hard in preparation for the competition. Key Club has elected new officers. These new officers are President Sadie Chanette, Vice President Victoria Gonzalez, Treasurer Nicholas Stewart, and Secretary Jared Casme. Key Club had held Whittier's first craft fair last month. That was a success. Also, they assisted at the Easter egg hunt in Salisbury and helped in Salisbury 10K fun run / walk. The club will be helping at home track meets in the spring.
Thank you, Mr. Nathan, for
Welcome,
doing
Mr.
that.
Chairman.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I neglected to mention when we first opened that there will be an executive session tonight after this meeting. Mr. DeRosa, I'm going to turn this over to you for
Thank you,
reports of
Mr. Chairman.
communication.
Mr. Chairman, if I can, I'd like to introduce Mr. Stephen Palmer. Steve is an instructor here, but also our advisor for Skills USA. Skills USA, as you know, participated in the district competition on Thursday, May 14, and Whittier won a total of 41 medals. We won 14 gold, 11 silver, and 16 bronze. So I'd like for Mr. Palmer to have a minute to talk about the competition and introduce the students that were able to be here with him tonight.
Come on up, guys. As Bill said, my name's Stephen Palmer. Most of you saw me last year come here. This is my second year as the skills advisor. Also my second year, I actually got to go to the national competition. We took 137 students to the district, and we took 41 medals. These are some of the students that were at the meeting. We're going back at the end of April. We have 53 students registered to go to the state competition in Marlborough, Massachusetts. Any of the ones that get a gold medal there will get to go to the national competition. So we're hoping this year to have more kids go to nationals than last year. Last year we had 3 go to nationals. So, you guys want to introduce yourselves?
I'm Jana Grover. I'm from Haverhill, and I won bronze in customer service, and I'm excited to go to the state competition. Thank you.
I'm Alexis, and I won gold in basic healthcare.
I'm Stephen Quimby from Amesbury, and I won gold in masonry.
I'm William Pepe from Haverhill, and I won bronze in carpentry.
I'm Adam Carroll from Raleigh, and I won gold in culinary arts.
Bring them back out here.
Yeah. Good. Can they come back out? Can these kids come back out? 'Cause bring them all
Out
out.
here.
Come on out here where we can see it. Don't run away.
Yeah. Yeah, Alexis, you were very quiet, and you didn't tell us where you were from, and you left before you said what you won your medal in. So can you get back up there and tell us where you're from?
Amesbury,
And what did you win your medal in?
basic healthcare.
Basic health care.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, there we go.
You know,
Last year, Stephen Quimby went to the nationals, and he came in, what did you come in? 23rd out of 32 students. So hopefully he'll be going back to the nationals this year in masonry. So that was really thrilling. And I really appreciate the money that you guys put out to help us to get the skills. I know it's very expensive, but it's worth it when you come back with gold medals and you come back with students that have a chance to compete. And so I really, really appreciate the monies that you guys spend to help us to get to the competitions.
Fantastic. Brett,
Mr. Palmer, where are the Nationals this year?
They're going to be in Kansas City again this year, and then I guess the following year they're going to be in Kentucky. So,
fantastic.
Great job.
Thank you. Next, Mr. Chairman, I would like to introduce Mr. William Yamin. He's a culinary instructor here at Whittier Tech. Mr. Yamin is here with 4 students who actually placed first in the Massachusetts State Pro Start competition on March 6, 2013, and they'll be competing in the National Pro Start Invitational in Baltimore, Maryland, on April 19 to 21.
Excuse me, why do you go behind? Come out here. You all stand behind so we can't see you. Good, good.
My name's Samantha. I'm from Haverhill, and I'm a junior.
I'm Brandon from Haverhill. I'm a senior.
I'm Adam, junior from Raleigh.
I'm Christine. I'm a senior from Haverhill.
We also have another student who couldn't make it. She's working tonight. So we just want to say Brittany Johnson. She's from Haverhill, and Groveland, sorry, and she's working, so she wasn't able to be with us tonight.
Bill, if you could you just tell us a little bit about the competition?
Sure. The Pro Stock competition is sponsored by the Massachusetts Restaurant Association. There was 10 teams competing. I kind of compare it to the version of Chopped. I don't know if anybody has ever seen Chopped on TV. It's a time challenge, food presentation, sanitation skills. Excuse me. There's a knife skill competition, poultry fabric competition, and I'm just going to not get into it too much, but the executive chef from the Colonnade Hotel was floored by these guys. His comment was their execution was flawless. And when you get to this type of competition, there were judges from all over Massachusetts, the North End, Boston. These kids, they hit a home run. They were outstanding. We started practicing after Thanksgiving, 3 or 4 days a week after school on their time. And it showed for the effort they put in, and I just want to thank you for your support. And hopefully, on April 19th, we'll be heading to Baltimore for the Nationals, competing against 43 other schools, or states, I should say. And also, there's 2 international teams coming too, one from Guam and one from Canada. So if they do the same thing they did, hopefully we'll come back with some medals like they have now, and it's well-deserved. I just got to commend them. They worked so hard. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Next, Mr. Chairman, I would like to introduce Mr. Kevin Bradley, who I know is not a stranger to you people, our athletic director. He has our girls' basketball team with him that won the state vocational championship, the CAC League Championship, and they were runners-up for the state MIAA Tournament Division 4 North.
Come on, girls. Right up. Don't be shy. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you the 2013 State Vocational Champs, MIA North State Finalists. We were 30 seconds away from playing in the Boston Garden for the state championship. And we also the CAC repeat champions for 2013. And these young ladies here were fantastic, what they've accomplished their whole entire career. But the good thing about it is they're all sophomores, except we have one, our captain, Josie Sanchez. Josie, step right out there. So, but these girls are fantastic, and it's a bright future. Josie, step right back out, Josie. Josie has been accepted to Merrimack College, where she's going to play softball at Merrimack College, and she's going to go into the athletic training over at Merrimack College. And she's real excited. She just came back. She was over there today with the softball coach, and they're really excited about her. She was awarded almost the entire, almost a full package on a scholarship. So her whole tuition is just about practically paid for free because of athletics and her academics that she's accomplished here at Whittier Tech. So we're very excited about it. Being the only senior, you hope for the best for her, and the future is so bright for Josie. You're going to be seeing her around, reading about her in the Eagle Tribune. So we like to introduce these girls here, the accomplishment they've done this year, being sophomores. I have a lot of emails from colleges. Matter of fact, Merrimack College is one of them. A lot of them are going to be offering these young ladies some scholarship money, if not a full boat, and now everybody else is on board. I've got letters from East Carolina University, and that's just the start. They're only babies. They're only sophomores, and they've also been asked. We got a phone call if we want to compete. They try to find the 4 top teams in Massachusetts that they can in any division. And we've been asked to play in the IBO, which is the officials of Massachusetts. There's a cancer tournament that's going to be played at St. John's Prep, and they try to get the 4 best girls teams that they can and the 4 best boys teams. And we've been invited in that, and also the Merrimack Valley Christmas tournament, where Andover Central, North Andover, Pinkerton, we've been asked if we would be interested in coming down there and playing, which would give these girls some great notoriety, recruiting all the colleges and universities that are there. So I'm very excited about what these girls have accomplished, and they are too. And the great thing about they're multiple sport athletes, and you read about them in different sports too. So they're the full package, and they're all great student athletes in the classroom.
Mr. Bradley, would you have them introduce themselves and where they're from, please?
Sure. Also, Mr. DeRosa, they asked that a lot of people here are going to go to Kansas, And we were wondering if we could get they were asking if these young ladies could also go to Kansas and maybe play in a basketball game down there, tournament. So they were all excited. Everybody's going to Kansas. I said, we might be able to get on the same plane, too. I don't know if there's still room there.
Is there anything else you want while you're there, Mr. Bradley?
I didn't know. Everybody was leaving. I said, maybe we get on, too. But, yeah, young ladies, if you come here, just introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Dominic Ortiz, and I'm a sophomore from Lawrence.
I'm Angie Martinez, and I'm a sophomore from Lawrence.
Hi, I'm Michaela Martin. I'm a sophomore, and I'm from Haverhill. Hi, I'm Kiana Guadalupe. I'm a sophomore, and I'm from Haverhill.
Hi, I'm Josie Sanchez. I'm a senior, and I'm from Methuen.
I'm Andrea Terranova, and I'm a sophomore from Haverhill.
I'm Tony Mariano. I'm a junior, and I'm from Georgetown.
I'm Sam Nelvon Lane. I'm a sophomore from Haverhill.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Nice job.
That's great.
Awesome.
It's unbelievable. It's, how much can you carry? You know what I mean? How much can people carry?
Mr. DeRosa, continue on.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. For informational purposes, in front of you, I have some personnel actions. We have hires for grade 10 math MCAS after-school program. Notification of the district treasurer, which again, you people voted on last month. Spring coaches. Also, we have resignations for the purposes of retirement. In terms of a budget update, Mr. Chairman, if I may, tonight the school committee voted to approve an operational budget of $19,931,617 for the 2014 fiscal year. Additionally, the school committee approved a capital assessment in the amount of $385,000 to the communities for the purchase of a school bus and completion of the wastewater treatment plant, because as you know, we are under a compliance order from DEP for the wastewater treatment plant, and this will bring us through to completion. Lastly, the school committee voted to approve school choice expenditures in the amount of $514,000. For an MCAS update, excuse me, we had 8 juniors take the February biology MCAS retest. 6 of the 8 passed. The 2 that did not pass will be taking the test again in June with the sophomores. The sophomores have completed the grade 10 ELA MCAS exam, and beginning on April 22nd, we will be offering a free MCAS after-school program to grade 10 students in preparation for the math MCAS exam, which is May 13 and 14. In terms of my update, on March 14, I attended the Rotary Luncheon at the Haverhill Country Club. On Monday, March 18, I hosted a breakfast for Joe Bevilacqua, and Mike Bevilacqua was also in attendance from the Merrimack Valley Chamber of Commerce. We discussed programs at the school to make sure that we were meeting the needs, the demands of the Merrimack Valley, and we also took the opportunity to discuss Whittier's 40th anniversary. Next year, Whittier will be 40 years in operation, and we're going to be having some commemorative events to mark that. So we're starting to plan. We have a committee actually established of all Whittier staff and administration to figure out what we're going to do next year to celebrate the 40th. On Monday, March 18, I hosted a luncheon for Mayor Thatcher Keyser from Amesbury. Also in attendance was Charlie Labella, one of our representatives from Amesbury. We discussed programming, community projects that we've done with Amesbury, and also the proposed school budget. On Wednesday, March 20, 2013, I was a panelist for the Open Invitation Conference at Northern Essex Community College, which was organized by John Mitchison. The purpose of the conference was to bring together leaders from business, education, and government to focus on the attention and the possibilities for innovation across the Merrimack Valley. There were representatives from Merrimack College, UMass Lowell, Northern Essex Community College, and myself. And I also would like to thank John Mitchison for the invitation for Whittier to take part in this conference. On Thursday, March 21st, 2013, I attended the Merrimack Valley Chamber Executive Breakfast Series at DeBurrows. Massachusetts Governor Deval Patrick was the guest speaker. I had the opportunity to talk to the governor, thank him for his support, because he's been very generous with Chapter 70 funding and public education, and it was an excellent opportunity. On Thursday, March 21st, sorry about that. On Tuesday, March 26th, I hosted a breakfast for the Finance Committee members from Groveland, Merrimack, Newbury, and West Newbury. In attendance was Greg Lebrecht, Finance Director from Groveland, Warren Spruill, Finance Director from West Newbury, Carol McLeod, Finance Director from Merrimack, and Tracy Blaze, Town Administrator from Newbury. We discussed enrollment, assessments, and figures and the capital assessment. On Thursday, March 28, 2013, I had a breakfast meeting with Finance Committee members from Rowley, Ipswich, excuse me, no, I've got that wrong, with Ipswich. In present was Mr. Morley, Robin Crosby, the town manager, was there, Rita Negri, a town accountant from Ipswich, and it was an excellent opportunity to talk to these people because I believe your town manager is fairly new since last year, and it gave us an opportunity to talk about Whittier and what it does, and Mr. Morley was there at that meeting.
And I'll make a comment, Ms. Negri, the town accountant, said, "I'm very impressed." That's what she said. Just wanted you to know that. So that's some stars to the school, and
Thank you.
yeah, so it's good.
On Friday and Saturday, March 22nd and 23rd, I attended the MVA conference in Hyannis. The conference was sponsored by the Massachusetts Vocational Association, and it was titled Keys of Success. I'm very proud to say that the Whittier leadership team hosted a panel discussion on the new evaluation process, and later on that Saturday afternoon, Maureen Lynch, the principal, and the two assistant principals hosted a workshop on school safety. So I'd like to thank members of the leadership team for their time and contributions. On Wednesday, April 3rd, I attended the Merrimack Valley Chamber Business Expo Luncheon. It was sponsored by the Merrimack Valley Chamber of Commerce, and the guest speaker at the luncheon was Karen Andreas, the publisher for the Eagle Tribune Group. After the luncheon, I introduced myself to Karen and invited her to come to Whittier, which is going to take place on April 30th, a tour and lunch here at Whittier. On Thursday, April 4th, I attended Rotary. On Thursday, April 4th, I also attended the annual Outstanding Student Technical Student Award Banquet in Worcester. At that banquet, we honored Nathan Bernard as our most outstanding student. He's a senior in electronics robotics, and he will be here next month to meet the school committee, and so that the school committee can meet Nathan. Today, I attended the Merrimack Valley Superintendent's Association luncheon at the Lanham Club. There was an update provided by Attorney Roseanne DePietro on recent initiatives from the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education and its impact on schools. Next, Mr. Chairman, if I may, as you know, it's the policy of the school committee that the school committee vote to accept donations. Easy Way Cleaners is donating $100 to the class of 2013. I respectfully request the school committee's approval for the acceptance of this donation.
And we do this with a vote? I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, next, Mr. Chairman, I would like to talk about our potentially new business manager and ask the school committee for a motion tonight. I would like to introduce Kara Cosmos. She's here with us tonight. Kara, if you would come up to the podium. As you know, we've been through a selection process for a business manager. We had 14 applicants for the job. 4 individuals were interviewed. References were checked, and members of the team all agreed that Kara was the appropriate candidate for the job. And if I can talk a little bit about Kara for a second, and Kara, I don't want to embarrass you, but I would like to talk about you for a second. She currently is the Assistant Superintendent of Finance and Operations at Haverhill Public Schools. She's been in that position since April of 2005. She, prior to that, was Executive Director of Business from November of 2003 to April of 2005. Prior to that, she was Interim Business Manager for a number of months, and before that, she was Assistant Director of Business from 1997 to 2003. Prior to that, Kara had 13 years of experience in the financial field. She holds an MBA and a BS in business administration. So, Mr. Chairman, I respectfully request, and I lost my sheet of paper, that a recommendation that the school committee vote to hire Kara Cosmos as business manager pending a query search, and to authorize the salary negotiation subcommittee to establish a contract.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion from Charles LaBella, and I have a second from John Tomey. Any discussion on this?
First,
Go ahead, John.
it's Tui, but secondly.
I knew that. I was just,
I'm
wanted to
kidding.
make sure you were listening.
I love you.
That's all.
I just want to say, I want to have a comment on Ms. Cosmos. In one aspect, I'm very excited being on this committee, but also sad to see her go where obviously where she's coming from Haverhill. It's certainly a good fit for us here in Haverhill. I can only tell the rest of the committee from experience that not only is her resume impressive, but what you'll find working with her as a school committee member is refreshing. She'll be extremely transparent, and you'll just, get the right information. In my opinion, this is a cakewalk in considering, going from our district, which is, we have several buildings, many issues. She's done a terrific job managing that, along with the inconsistency of, unfortunately, at the superintendent level, where Ms. Cosmos, in the last couple of years prior to Jim Scully coming on board, has actually needed to fill, in my opinion, a couple shoes, two roles. So she's done a great job, and I just can't obviously say enough, and I'm looking forward to working with her still. So I'm really not losing her, but at the same time, I know there's some friends and colleagues that are in the audience here they're going to certainly miss her. In short, you certainly Whittier has a great fit here at Whittier, and I'm very excited to have her here. So maybe Kara can comment a little bit on some of her accomplishments while she's here. I think this is going to go through with no problem, but nevertheless, I'd like to hear from her if that's okay. Kara, I'm putting you right in the spot, all right?
Mr. Tui, thank you for the very kind words. I don't want anyone to think that my applying to Whittier Tech has anything to do with the fact that I was never happy at Haverhill Public. I loved working at Haverhill Public and never really had an intention to leave Haverhill Public unless there was an opportunity that came along that I couldn't resist, and this was one of them. In particular, I was around when this school opened. I was in high school when Whittier Tech opened, and I remember coming in to look at the buildings and had several friends who came here, and I was always very impressed. My dad was a school committee man here many years ago for 6 years, so our family was very entrenched in Whittier Tech for a very long time. I just wanted to do a good job, Sean. I just really liked my job. It was very challenging. It is very challenging. We have not had the same financial issues that Whittier has. We've had a lot of challenges because most of our funding is strictly from the state. We are funded at level funding from the city of Haverhill, so we have to live within a footprint that sometimes does not indicate what our needs are. We have a very challenging population. We have a lot of special ed students. We have a lot of ELL students, but somehow we all work together. We make it work. Sean and I have actually sat together for many times balancing budgets, and it's not always easy, but we make it work and we do it well, and I'm very pleased to have the opportunity to come to Whittier Tech. On the other hand, I am very sad to leave Haverhill because it has been a wonderful experience. My administrative assistant is here in the audience tonight in support of me, which I'm very grateful for. That goes to show the working relationship that we have had together for almost 14 years. My sister is also here in support of me as well. And I look forward, pending your vote, of course, I look forward to many years of working with the members of the Whittier Tech School Committee and administration, and I want to thank Mr. DeRosa for all of his support this week as well.
Thank you, Kara.
Well, the way I look at it, with you brought your sister, you brought your administrative assistant, and with Sean's comments, I would like to all in favor?
Aye.
This is done.
Thank you all very much. I look very forward to working with you.
Congratulations, Kara. Thank you.
When does she start?
We'll do that in salary negotiations. We'll talk about when she starts and things like that. Because we have our interim, Mr. Jack can stay with us until the end of the school year. If Kara needs to stay in Haverhill until the end of the school year and not start until July 1, we're able to accommodate that. Next, Mr. Chairman, I have a field trip request. As you know, if and when it's an overnight field trip, it needs permission of the school committee. This field trip is for the Skills USA students that you met earlier to be at the competition in Marlboro on April 25th to 27th.
Move the superintendent's recommendation for a field trip, overnight field trip.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Next, Mr. Chairman, I was notified by the Merrimack Valley Chamber of Commerce that Whittier is going to receive the Community Spirit Award at an annual dinner on May 1, 2013. If any committee members would like to be able to come to that dinner, the dinner is at DeBurro's. If any committee members would like to come, if they would let Lisa know so that we're able to purchase tickets for them to attend. May 1, Wednesday, May 1. So it would be the week before school committee.
Tell me about the Community Spirit Award. What is it?
I haven't received the formal letter yet, but Community Spirit Award is for the work that we've done in the communities with community projects and supporting things in the community. And again, I'll have a letter and be able to bring that forward. Next, Mr. Chairman, I have a letter of thanks I'd like to read to the committee. It was written to Earl Core, one of our carpentry instructors. It was written from Jillian Rich, who's the president and CEO of Pennacook Place. He would like to thank the students for the magnificent job they did in building a pergola for their patio. He said not only is it made, but it's structurally appealing. And he would like to thank the men and women who worked on the project and thank the school for the support too. And we also have healthcare students who go over for experience at Pennacook Place. And that's the end of my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Miss Lowell. How are you tonight?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Mr. DeRosa, members of the committee. In your packet, you have received an update of admissions for the 2013-14 school year. This year, we accepted 351 in-district students, and we processed 518 applications. You'll notice that there is a decrease from last year, but if you were to look back over the past 4 to 5 years, we continue to be on a positive trend. Last year was an incredible, wonderful, huge jump, but I think this year is more of a natural correction and still showing a steady trend of increases in enrollment and in applications overall. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them about admissions. And also, there's an invitation to our honors night, which will be later in May.
Any questions, anybody from Ms. Lowell? Mr.
Go ahead, Mr. Toy. I'll just, again, I'm sorry, what was the reason this year it's down from the 397 to 351? And also, the question I have is, it looks like it's down also from a percentage of maybe 3 or 4 percentage points of whose applications received to who's getting in.
No, actually, it's exactly a 60. It's running around 70%. Actually, it was like I think 69.6. It was almost identical in terms of our acceptance rate, comparing applicants to acceptances.
Okay.
Because we always look at.
I mean, it's 67% versus last year. It's a little over 70, but okay, that's close enough, I guess. But what's the reason? What's your feeling on it? Why it's down?
Well, for the applications.
The
applications or the acceptances.
I'd say
or
both.
Okay.
I'm going to say both. Yes, absolutely.
Applications. They're not. Like I said last year. Why did we have almost 100 additional applicants than we did the previous 4 or 5 years? I don't know. We had about the same number of students tour the building, look at the building. Last year was a class that was very interested in Whittier. This year, we still had a lot of applications compared to the previous 2 years to last year. So I didn't see it as a dramatic decrease as compared over time.
Okay.
Compared to last year. As far as the acceptances, I didn't see that it was a dramatic change either in the actual acceptance rate.
397, okay. In the choicer, I don't know if Mr. Early's going to piggyback, but as far as the choice numbers are certainly up.
When I met with Mr. DeRosa and we went over the numbers, when we look at how many choice students we can consider in our acceptance, first of all, we always look at the in-district students first. And we know from past years that approximately we get about an 80% enrollment off of our in-district acceptances. So we can kind of make a good estimate of how many students will be walking into the building. After that point, then we look at the choice application pool. And that enrollment rate is much lower. It's around 60% for our students who will actually walk in the building. So again, we just adjusted that number reflective of the in-district rate and the projected enrollments. And get our best guess at that.
And sorry, and I don't mean to interrupt, but again,
That's okay.
and I think the superintendent addressed this before. What is the percentages from last year? It looks like 220, 38 accepted. Was that because of the capacity, or what was, because when accepted is 17% versus, if you look at accepted, 86 of 133 is, if my math, hold on.
Last year, we didn't have as many available, and nowhere near.
64%. So it's 64% with choice.
I think it was the enrollment cap.
Okay,
Right.
that's what I'm asking. So it was okay.
Right, it was in-district enrollment was higher last year.
Okay, thank you. I didn't say it was an intelligent question, I just wanted to bring it up.
Yeah, I think, again, we were looking last year at that same, well, we know about 80% of these 397 are probably going to enroll versus how many seats we still had left, and can we take potentially 60% of these?
Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Mr. Go ahead. Oh, Charlie, you want to go next?
My question deals with the students that are close, that just need to raise a few grades or something.
Right.
They're still in the mix?
Yes, so
That
we
number's
also.
close?
Yeah, so
Last year's?
Yeah, so we also have that pool of applicants that we're still looking at, that we've asked them to send us their final report card to review again, and that we always pick up more students. So if you compare what I report to you every April around admissions to what actually is enrolled and has applied by September, it always is significantly higher. You know, we'll get another 20 or 30 applicants and potentially accepted applicants by September.
So
to
this could
actually
be,
come in.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Charlie, but this could be up towards 380 then.
Oh, it will definitely grow, yes.
You know, I can only-
It's even higher, I can tell you just by the date that I wrote this. I still, I look at applications every day, still.
Right, and I get these calls, I know we, all committee members get the calls, I can't, you know, why isn't my child getting in and all that, but and I did ask the superintendent this, and you guys put them on a path, okay, here's the information, if there are any discrepancies coming out of, the, you know, middle schools, et cetera, there is a track that if they're not coming in maybe September, there's maybe another alternative, maybe by January. So there are those cases, right, that can,
Yes.
if it's not September, it's January.
Yeah.
But you guys give them that plan of action, what they need to do.
Yeah.
Because we all know, we hear all the, you know, the politicizing of why, you know, these certain kids aren't getting in. We know those dynamics.
Yeah. If they
And
haven't been
we love those
accepted-
conversations too, I know, Mr. Superintendent, but,
If
so,
they-
that's what I.
If they haven't been accepted, they get a letter that says what areas they could improve upon, and we encourage them to send us their final report card. And most of the middle schools do and help us out with that and send us the final report card so that we can review it again. And we always get students through that path. We've had students who reapply mid-year in grade 9 who come to us. We actually picked up a couple more students this February through that. And we're actually one of the few vocational technical schools who actually, in their admission policy, accept into 10th and 11th grade as well.
And you also
So
accept
students
them in mid-years, forgive me, but you're one of the only schools that accepts in mid-year as well.
Yes, yeah. So there is definitely a path for acceptance, yes. And with feedback along the way.
Mr. LaBella?
Yeah, I guess sort of when I think about this, a philosophical question in regards to the district schools. Do they have a review process?
When you say review, just help me out.
I mean, they know the criteria.
Right, their criteria
When
is...
they have a student that says, hey, I'm gonna apply to Whittier.
Right.
Do they have review and say, well, doesn't look good? Or we don't know?
I don't know. That I don't know. We always encourage everybody to apply, and that's the way we look at it, too. We always encourage everybody to apply. I wouldn't...
Like, I look at Georgetown, 19 applied, 15 got accepted. Geez, so somebody said, hey, you guys, you got a good shot, Some of the other, Groveland, 39, 33. Ipswich, 14, 11, 19. But Amesbury and Salisbury, 50%. So there's something different.
And again, Mr. LaBella, we always encourage them to allow everybody to apply.
Right.
So that no one is discouraged, so that the application's reviewed, and we can tell them, like, for example, you need to pass, raise your grades or improve attendance by June or, beginning of next year. So we always encourage everybody to apply, but you're right, there are some communities that have traditionally have a stronger accept rate than others.
I'll just add that we do meet with the middle school counselors and the special education team chairs to keep that line of communication open around the admission policy, what kids need to do. And I think the schools have overall, everybody, have been very, very responsive and, engaging in those conversations and trying to help kids get here that want to be here. That's, the key.
Go ahead, Mr. Hurley.
Yeah. You've done a great job.
Thank
The
you.
administration has done a great job. You said 80% come, 20% don't. That's about 70 students. They're not going to show up. Am I?
Yeah.
Of the accepted.
I don't have my
Of the
calculator in
accepted
front of me.
ones, saying 20%, that's 70 students. That gives a big opportunity for in-district kids, that are on edge, to get here. And I had a few calls and I had a few parents come in and they were very satisfied with the letter they got because on the bottom of the letter it stated what they had to do. They called down here, they got reassured that's what they have to do, and it made them a lot more comfortable this year than in the past. But it was, I don't know if this is a coincidence or not, 167 didn't get in last year, first time, and 167 didn't come in again this year. It's just a coincidence. And that shows that there's still a lot of spaces still available for in-district. So they won't be, put to the side.
In-district,
Correct.
Yes.
And I want everybody to realize that too, that is listening, because that's a very important thing. They think that we're automatically going on this school choice because we increased it a little. We really didn't increase it because the spots were available. And I want to tell you, for everybody, great job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I?
Go ahead, Sean.
I'm going to beat this to death. The other, for those who are listening and watching, I mean, talk about the actual policy, the criteria to get in and all, and are there kids that, obviously everyone's here for the well-being of all the kids that want to come here. Obviously, for Haverhill, I hear it all the time, and I would love as many kids from Haverhill that want to be here get in. There's no question about that. I think everyone here from their communities feel the same way. So I'm not saying anything that's out of school. At the same time, the interview criteria, how many points again do you?
Each criteria is worth 20 points,
20
the
points.
5 criteria.
So are
yeah.
there kids, and I know Dickie has come before the committee before, and this has been brought up time and time again. If that kid is on the, you have the discipline, the attendance, all those good things. Some people feel, again some, There's pros and cons, meaning that that criteria, that portion could maybe hurt rather than help. In other words, if there's someone on the bubble that, you know, from whatever town, that those 20 points could make or break that individual. You know, so I hear that argument. The other argument that Dickie makes a very good point too, conversely to that, is, well, if that kid is on the bubble, those 20 points could help him get in. So can you comment on that? Because there's been this big, I don't want to say misconception, but a lot of talk out there in the community, particularly in Haverhill, that maybe that could be a deal killer for some of these kids that may not get in versus, again, reaching out to someone else in the community, school choice. I mean, you've heard all the stories. So can you comment on that a little bit for me, if that's okay?
Patty, excuse me, if you don't mind, I'll kind of take over at this point, because it's kind of like been the same song for quite a number of years, even when I had your job. There are 5 sections to the application. Each section is worth 20 points. No student has ever been excluded or not accepted because of the interview. The interview has always helped students. The only students who don't do well on the interview are the students who go into an interview and say, the only reason why I want to go to Whittier is because I don't want to go to such and such high school, or because my parents told me that I have to go. The interview is not the deterrent, okay? We look at 5 areas that are equally weighted. Most students don't even need points from the interview to be able to be accepted to Whittier. Most students that are accepted don't even need those 10, 5, 15, 20 points, whatever. Don't even need it, because they've got the 80 points to get in the door. And no in-district student who is qualified is refused admissions. It has been the same admissions policy, though it has been tweaked over the years, and the state recently added the criteria that if the student doesn't pass English or math, they cannot be accepted. That's the only change in the admissions policy, and I've been doing this for 25 years. That's the only change in the admissions policy that has occurred, and that was a state requirement. And people need to understand, physically this facility could never accept every child that applies. There are roughly between 5, sometimes as high as 600 applications for a year. This building couldn't hold it. And if people would like a larger tech school, they're building one at North Shore Tech right now. It's about $180 million. If the communities would like to give us $180 million, I will build a tech school large enough for 2,000 students. But I really don't see that opportunity happening. So the admissions criteria exists so that we are able to educate the students who are qualified to be educated, so that we can deal with space requirements and meet state mandates. And again, the application helps. When a child goes through the application process, many times, and Patty, you certainly can talk about this, that interview gives them the extra whatever they need to be able to get into the door. It does not hurt a child. It does not hurt a child. And Patty, did you have any this year that were refused based upon the
I agree. The interview is based on motivation and realism. Those are the two, ideas behind it and the questions behind it. And the motivation and realism to attend Whittier, most students, that is a positive effect. And I agree with you, it does help them, because sometimes they're not the greatest academic students, but they're highly motivated and really want to come to Whittier. If they've got multiple criteria, like the attendance and the academics and maybe something else that's pulling them down, it's harder for the interview to carry them forward. But definitely can help a student who maybe is just a little bit weak in an area, and can help them get over that hurdle.
I take it the superintendent doesn't like that song? We've been singing for a while. But what do you score, out of curiosity? Let's say, I know you mentioned you may not need the points to get in, but what do you do? What does happen? What score does someone receive if the child's being rebellious that day, that says, hey, but everything else is fairly decent, not great, that they don't need, but they say, I'm only here because my dad wants me to be here. What do you score them? What do they get?
0.
That would probably be a 5 or a 0.
5 or a 0.
Oh, for the interview
Yeah.
score.
Less than 10.
Yes,
Yeah,
it would.
It's very,
Okay.
and it's very rare. I don't.
But that's- I would say
I don't
that's-
even think I have.
Okay,
There's no
just
zeros.
curious. I mean, I've heard you say that a lot, so I just was
Yeah.
curious. And I think it's good. I mean, the reason why I brought it up is not to get you frustrated, though I really do enjoy that from time to time. Just kidding. That the idea is so that you hear that. At least I hear it. I don't know if Dickie hears it all the time in my community or the other members do. I hear that time and time again. So I just, as long, for me, as long it's a healthy dialogue, as long as everyone hears it and understands it, I think it works out, and I think that eventually subsides. So, thank you,
Right.
Mr.
I
President.
do have one other thing. I had 4 or 5 parents come in, and when they came in, they brought the letter, whether they didn't get accepted. They did see why they didn't get accepted. It wasn't because they missed 20 days or a bad interview. They were on the border. One of them had a D+. He had to get the D+ up to a passing C in math, and all of them said they did well in their interview. And one of the parents got what their score was, and they were kind of surprised their son did well on the interview. So that kind of helped this particular person, because they're only about 2 or 3 points away, and they have to pass in their final report card. And another one was behavior. I don't know what you can do with behavior, and with all a kid can do is bring up the behavior and not have any problems. Young lady.
I want to ask a question, Mr. Chairman.
Please.
I'm not familiar with the application, so if you all know this and I don't, I apologize. When you put these applications together, and do you put an instruction sheet or maybe some tips in particular for preparing for the interview?
That's up to the middle schools. I know some of the middle schools have spoken about how they prepare the students for their interview, so that they're comfortable.
So there is a
It's really
process
that's.
Okay, somebody's helping them, because, regardless of whether you're, in middle school trying to, come here, or, you're going for your first job interview or your 75th job interview, some people just don't interview well.
Yeah, yeah, and our guidance counselors go to do the interviews, and they really try to put the kids at ease, and they ask them just a handful of questions, and they try to keep it as informal and relaxed as possible. But I know that the middle school counselors also work with their kids, and that's school to school and up to each school to determine how they prepare the students. We don't tell them what they have to do.
So we don't have an application that they get here from Whittier?
They get the application from Whittier. We actually deliver them to the middle schools, and they're distributed to any students who want them. And the middle schools actually prepare them for us. And then we go to the middle school and do the interview, and then bring the packet back to us to score. So it has all the information compiled by the middle school.
All right, so let me just play, I'm a parent, and I get this application, and the middle school's going to prepare my child for, a very important next step in their life. It seems to me that it should be, so the parents that are also helping them prepare. So how does that work if we're leaving it up to the folks at the middle school?
Okay, in the fall, the students all come and tour the building, and we tell them all about the application process and what's going to happen. And we also, at our open house, we have an orientation to applying to Whittier. Mr. DeRosa does that for any interested parents as well. So we try to get the word out there as best we can around this application process.
All right.
And
So,
the
but
and
I
the
guess that
policy
still doesn't
does-
really answer my
Oh, I'm
question,
sorry.
because my question is really, is anyone helping them prepare for the interview specifically?
If I
I
can
mean, I think that the grades.
If I can kind of address that.
Yeah.
The application has 5 sections.
Yeah.
Middle school fills out 4 of the 5 sections. All that's verified with, for example, the section on
Documentation.
grades. We ask for a report card so that we can
Right.
verify.
And I understand that.
So then, in terms of the interview, the school districts understand that we're looking for students who are motivated to be, it's not like a job interview. It's more of, what what do you envision Whittier can do or accomplish for you? Like, why would you want to be at Whittier versus somewhere else? So it's, are
No,
their goals
I
realistic?
understand. I understand
So
that.
that's done with their guidance counselors. What's really interesting, Jane, what you see over the years, lots of kids who come here because their parents came here and end up 9 times out of 10 doing what their parents did or do, if you
Right.
will, if they own a business. So that's always the way that that's been done. And again, as Patty said, there's the informational tours.
Right.
There's our website. There's, all those kinds of things that happen and occur too.
Yeah, I don't know, I just, I listened to Mr. Tui's statement about, my father told me to come here, and I think to, myself, well, that comes from somewhere. And if someone's not preparing that young person, that it's okay, you want to be truthful, you want to be honest. When someone asks you a question, tell them the truth. But, you have to talk about what is the truth, and maybe on that particular day, we all have bad days. So I guess, I guess the 4 sections take care of themselves. It is what it is by the time that young person comes to the
Right.
interview. I think it's critical for that interview, and you may say, no, it's not, but I have to tell you, it absolutely is critical, and if for no other reason, for that person's self-esteem and confidence. And I think if there's a way that we can kind of figure out to offer up some other tool or some other resource to everybody that applies in terms of helping them prepare for the interview. Just tips.
If I could just jump in here. Based upon, again, I'm learning as you are about the actual application process as well. Well, listening to what you said, you're giving feedback to the middle schools in terms of the whole process. And since the individuals who are applying here are living in that community and going to that middle school, in my mind, it's really their responsibility to basically share that with them. So we're providing it to the middle school.
I understand that.
It is the middle school's responsibility, and some may do better jobs, could be the individuals who are there. But in my mind, we're giving them the tools. And again, you hit it very much on the head too, it's parental. But it can be parental as it relates to anything, in terms of students having a desire to do academics, doesn't matter what it is, sports, doesn't matter what the scenario is. And that's where I'm saying, I'm very comfortable with the process that we've been following. Sorry.
And maybe I just quickly looked. I haven't done it yet for this year, but I always do an analysis of how all the applicants, I don't do it by school, but how all the applicants do in terms of each score, and just determine what's the median score, because it kind of helps you see, well, this class coming in was really strong academically. This class was really strong in the attendance score. The past 2 years, the median interview score has been 15 out of 20 points. So that kind of tells me that the interview is not really a huge detriment. It is a positive, and it isn't a huge detriment. I haven't done it for this year, so it could. And in previous years, it was at 13, 12. There have been, but the past 2 years have been very high. So, and I think part of that is because the middle schools have worked with the students around the interview. And the guidance counselors who have gone out to interview, haven't given me any feedback that that's been a problem. Like, oh, the kids are coming in and they just sit and stare at me, or, they can't answer the questions. I think they are comfortable with that part of the process.
All right. Well, Mr. LaBelle?
I also want to say, and not to take it personally, but I look at it in a little bit of a different light. If you look at the communities and the percent of students that apply, to me, because of the lower percents of every community except Haverhill, I think those students are, in my opinion, a little bit more motivated than the students from Haverhill, because you have a real higher percent applying from Haverhill. So my take on that is that some of these Haverhill students might not be as motivated as the other communities. It's a vast, I mean, it's a large number, percent-wise, that
What do you
apply.
mean motivated?
Are you saying because there's a higher number that apply from Haverhill?
Well, my feeling is, why are 3 times as many students applying to Whittier from Haverhill than all the other communities?
Because there's more
You think
students.
it's population?
Haverhill's 60,000 people.
65,000.
Yeah, but how many freshmen are in the Haverhill class?
Right there. I told you, B1.
Let me see.
B1, it tells you right there, right in your book.
We don't have the book.
Want me to move this along?
Yeah, yeah,
What do you want to do?
Not on me.
B1, it tells you how many girls, town by town, right there. Right there, look.
You know what I think I'm
I'm
willing,
talking about, have we ever done an analysis of the entire 8th grade class? What percent apply from each community?
look, I'll tell you what,
This is it, right here.
I'll tell you what, I have a suggestion.
That's just, of the 362 students that applied, what percent of the entire class is that?
We,
With that, I don't know.
if I can just respond to that, Mr. Chairman, we get every year from our communities, we get the total school-age population. So, for example, we know how many kids live in Haverhill that are school-age, we know how many kids live in Groveland that are school-age, Merrimack. We get that every year. We know how many students are in their 8th grade class. So then we look at their current 8th grade class, which obviously varies from, year to year. We look at their current 8th grade class, and again, Patty might know a little bit better than me because I've been out of it for 5 years now, but we proportionately got about the same amount, percentage-wise, of applicants from the communities. It kind of stays consistent. Once in a while, there was a bump, and when there was a really large bump, there were unusual circumstances. For example, Amesbury, back about 6 or 7 years ago, when they were doing construction
Yes.
at the high school, we saw a huge bump in Amesbury applications. So that was a little bit unusual. That was a higher percentage than usual. But normally, each of the communities maintain approximately the same percentage of students of their 8th grade that apply to come here. And percentage-wise, Haverhill has the largest percent of 8th graders who apply to come here.
Between 67 and 70% every year.
Always.
You know, in all the years I've been on this committee, we go through this almost, huh?
Well, he just reiterated what I thought.
All right. I just would mention that all the years I've been on this committee, we hear the same questions almost every year. I am convinced that the process is fair. I'm convinced that the interview, the whole process is a process to success. We want the child to succeed. I've had students in the town of Ipswich, I've sat and I interviewed and I said, you better get your act together because you're going to be working around equipment. They expect you to succeed, they expect you to attend school, and they expect you to take this serious. And that's what we want. That's what everybody wants. And I think everybody would ask that of anybody who's coming to a place like Whittier. But I'm willing to even do this. If there is, again, there are questions, why don't we get together sometime? And I'm willing to do this. 3 or 4 of us together here one evening, one afternoon, we'll meet with the superintendent, go over this, hammer these things out, and then take back to the communities the things you feel that, you've learned. I'm willing to do something like it. If you're interested in doing that, we'll have a little chat after or talk to Lisa. I'm sorry. I lose my, talk to Lisa, and we'll bring people back, and we'll do this. Mr. Early, you've been around here a long time. You've seen this whole process.
Yeah, over and over again.
Huh?
Yeah, over and over again, and things, sometimes the dynamic changes, but I'd like to move the agenda. I mean, we can talk about this, but it's the same 5 criteria. There's some political situations sometimes where some schools don't want to send kids here because they want to keep them themselves because they get reimbursement from the state. There's all kinds of situations. We have an excellent school. Our reputation's getting out there. Some of the better kids are starting to apply. We should be thankful for that, and I would request we move the agenda.
I have a motion. Do you want to make a
I'll make a motion.
request? Let's move the agenda, okay?
Thank Patty, and move
Yeah.
on.
I will move on. Is that okay, everybody? Everybody? Satisfied? Let's move on. All right, but that offer is, thank you so much. That offer is open, though. If we want to discuss it further, we can do that. All right, Ms. Lynch? Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, and Mr. DeRosa. In your packet is a copy of the proposed changes to the Student Parent Handbook for the 2013-14 school year. I can't believe we're talking about this already. I highlighted the changes that we have made to the handbook, and if I can go over those quickly with you, and if you have any questions, please stop me. On page 21 of the handbook, we included that students who call or text parents or guardians without the permission of the school nurse will receive an in-school suspension. We've had a lot of problems with students contacting their parents, and then parents show up at the door and we're wondering what's going on with their child and their child's sick. It's in other places in the handbook. I just thought it was an important place under health services to add that statement to the handbook. On page 23, we added the new policy for pregnant and parenting students. That school committee policy, I did, it's pretty similar to the old policy, but I did want to add it verbatim to the student parent handbook. On page 35, we added the statement that students must pass their vocational technical area each year to be eligible for promotion and graduation. This is in several other places in the handbook, but I thought it was an appropriate place to add this under failure policies. It's not a change to what we've been doing for the last few years. And then section H, way in the back of the book, letter I, per Massachusetts student records regulations, Whittier may forward student records to authorized school personnel at schools at which a Whittier student seeks or intends to attend or enroll without the consent of the eligible student or parent or guardian. And this is, so that we can share records with other schools within our district when needed. At this time, can I answer any questions that you may have?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Mr.
Move to accept the student handbook as presented.
I have a second, but I also have a question. So I have a motion, and a second, and Charlie, you have a question.
So you said that letters in the bold are the changes?
The highlighted. They're highlighted in blue.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
All set, Charlie?
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Maureen, thank you.
Okay.
You have anything else for us?
I just wanted to throw out a couple of dates for everyone to mark their calendars with.
Go ahead.
Academic Awards Night is May 23rd at 7 o'clock.
What is it, May?
23rd at 7. This,
What are we doing?
here, yep, in the auditorium.
It's the 23rd.
The senior prom is May 28th, and graduation is May 30th at 6 o'clock. That's a Thursday evening. Academic Awards, May 23rd. Senior prom is May 28th, and graduation is May 30th at 6 o'clock. That's a Thursday evening,
When's it graduate?
May 30th.
It's a big week.
Thank you, dear. Thank you, Maureen.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, business manager, interim business manager, comptroller, the whole thing, come on up.
In your package, you have the information on the purchase of a school bus, actually the bid specs, and I'm going to let Jared walk you through it. Jared does all of our bid specs, he does all of the process, and he'll just walk you through how this particular piece went.
Good evening. So we just had two bids that came in. The low bid, is, as you can see, was New England Transit. They came in at $77,695. We'd like to, funding for this purchase would come from the replacement of the equipment account. Other than that, any questions?
I have a couple of questions here. Mr. Earlywood up first, go ahead.
What was the last bus we bought? Wasn't it more than 77,000?
82.
I believe it was, but I'll I'll get you the exact number.
82,000.
Mr. LaBelle, you had a question? Oh, go ahead, Brett.
Is New England Transit who we also lease the buses from?
No, DACO, actually.
Oh, okay, all right.
Do we, point of order, do we need to move to accept this?
I think we do. No, I don't think so. No, we're all set. We bought it.
Just information.
Yeah, it's letting us know. We have a little discussion. You come in a little less than we thought. Go ahead, Charlie.
I got a question about, do you know if these buses have the heated outside mirrors?
I don't know that. I will check the specs. I'll get back to you.
I've been talking to some bus drivers, and they say they used to have, I guess in the winter, it's really hard to get the...
I don't know, honestly, I don't know.
Just a question.
Well, Charlie, we could get you out and let you look at those mirrors
I
and
was
see
talking to
if
the
they
bus
heat it.
drivers.
Okay.
I couldn't tell.
Used to be a time.
The only other piece that you need to know is this bus is available. There's no delay on this. The minute we put the order in, we're less than 10 days away from receiving that bus because it's already available. So it's not as if it has to be produced.
Are any other questions for anybody on the bus? Brett?
One more question. Are we trading in a bus, or are we are?
We did trade in a bus.
Okay.
I believe I don't know the exact figure,
No,
but
no
yes,
problem.
we did
Yeah, I was
trade in
just
a
curious.
bus.
Any other questions?
Just a comment that we commend Mr. Jack for his interim business manager activities. It held down the fort while Bill was interviewing and getting a fine new business manager.
Nice, thank you. Thank you. Good job. Mr. La Rosa? Go
And
ahead.
if I can follow up with
La
what Nelson
Rosa,
says,
you
thank
were-
you, I agree. It's been a pleasure working with him. And I also need to thank Jared, who's our comptroller, who just joined us actually last July. And has really stepped up to the plate and helped out as well with the absence of a business manager. So it's been a great operation over there, and I thank them for that.
Nice going.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else? That's it. Okay, let's go move on to committees. We have the April annual agenda items. Reorganization of the committee.
Done.
We've done that. Review of the annual agenda, we've done that.
Tonight, it's in front of you
Yeah.
tonight.
We're going to look at that. Where is that? I don't have that. Do I have that?
Let's give all the dates.
Okay. All right, all right, sorry, everybody, oh, I got it right here.
Okay.
Everybody have a copy of the annual agenda? What do we have to approve that, or what do we want to do? It's right there in front of you, there you go, you know what's going on.
Tells you the months.
Tells you the months, everything that we have to do. So that is there, that's done. Review of the school committee goals.
You're going to extend that another, till next month so that people can respond, more people can
Yeah,
respond.
we only had 8 people respond, and
Yes.
we'd like to get a few more, so if you got it at home, or you don't have it, contact Lisa, she'll email it to you, we'll get it done. Variance analysis.
We did that last month. We took that out of order because we did it last month when
Okay.
we did the transfers.
All right, May annual agenda items. Mr. DeRosa, you have to help me with this.
Sure. Usually, Mr. Chairman, members of the subcommittees look at what subcommittees they sit on and decide whether or not they want to continue on that subcommittee. And that's on the back of the school committee report, am I right, on the back of the agenda? So that people can see the subcommittees and what they're currently sitting on and whether or not they want to stay on those or change to a different committee. The school calendar is traditionally submitted by the principal. She brings it forward next month for your approval. Review and update of the strategic plan. We had mentioned a couple of months ago that would like to bring the strategic plan in line with the school year, especially given the new evaluation tool. It makes sense because the goals that we and teachers establish come from the strategic plan. So that will be done by the end of the year, so it's in place for September, so that the strategic plan is approved and in place by September. And I give you my responses to my evaluation next month.
So next month, we have those from you?
Yes.
Okay, great. Any questions on these things?
Should
Moving right
should we
along.
have a copy of the subcommittee organization in our packet?
I think we should. I didn't.
Yes.
didn't-
I saw
Can
it.
I get, and just for clarification, I don't, the appointment of subcommittees, isn't that's not done by the chairman?
Well,
It is, but you usually tell them whether or not you want to continue
Yeah.
on a subcommittee.
you know, I'm a little unprepared for all that too, just as you are.
Initially, if there's no change, we just let it go.
But we'll figure it all out.
I just was curious, that's all.
Yeah, I agree. Look, there's a lot of, there's a half a dozen subcommittees, and I think
I
people,
think I saw it, Mr. Tucker.
yeah,
Usually people notify you if they don't, if they want to go on.
yeah.
Maybe we don't.
I'll tell you what we'll do.
I'm sorry, say again?
Say he doesn't have a copy of the subcommittees.
We can get another one to you if you want. When you were given the directory last month, it was on the back of the directory.
All right, it was in the last.
But I
month's
can get you another one.
Most important thing is,
Terrific, thank you.
most important thing is everybody who wants to serve any particular subcommittee, you should be able to. You should be able to, and just let Mr. DeRosa know, or let me know, and we'll make sure it happens. Is that okay?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Express a desire, and you can
Yeah,
wave your
that's all
magic
you
wand.
gotta do.
I'll have the same assignments, but it's last year? Last time, okay.
If you want.
Sure, no problem.
Yeah, traditionally, if you want to change, talk to the chair, otherwise you stay where you are.
Yeah, I think that's what we've been doing, yeah.
Gave up on 0.
All right, can we move on to subcommittee reports?
Yes.
All right, executive
Has not met, Mr.
hasn't
Chairman.
met, and we're going to, when are we going to meet?
There really is not a need right now for executive. Last time executive met was during budget season.
Anybody see a need for executive subcommittee meeting? I can't see anything, no. All right.
Oh, yeah,
Instructional personnel, Joanne's away,
has not met.
hasn't met. Plan operations, Brett?
We have not met, but I think we do need a meeting next
In
month.
May, yes.
Could we, to review summer projects and
Correct.
that type of thing? We'll have a list together that night, I assume.
Can we do it, do you want to do it before this one, or do you want a separate night?
I was thinking probably 6 o'clock, the night of the committee meeting,
Okay.
general meeting.
Next month? Okay.
Does that work for? That way, that'll give us some time to walk around.
Yes.
Charlie, salary negotiations?
Yeah, they met on April the 2nd at the school for the purpose of the school contract with the current principal. And the committee came to a tentative agreement, and that agreement is now being reviewed by the legal to make sure all the verbiage is correct. And then we can present that at a later time. I need a motion to accept the minutes.
So moved.
I have a
Read your
motion, and I have a
Second.
second. Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
I like to look to make sure people, doesn't go past you too fast, and if you have any questions, that's why I do that. Charlie, you had a
We
question?
also need to set up a meeting to the business manager's contract.
Right.
You want to set that now, or?
Can we do it the week after the April school vacation, the last week of April? Is that acceptable for
Sure.
people?
Talking about the business manager's contract?
All right with you, Dave? Good, yeah.
All right.
Mr. Tucker?
I'm available.
Can we traditionally go with a Wednesday like we usually do, or do you want another
Wednesday?
night?
Yeah.
Wednesday? 6 o'clock, 6:30?
So when,
6 o'clock. Wednesdays
so
are
I
good.
can send the request for the committee members can request it through you, Mr.
You
Chairman?
can call me, or you can just call the school. Tell Mr. DeRosa what you want
the
to do.
subcommittee would like to.
Sure.
Okay.
We'll get you on any committee you want to be on,
Okay, thank you.
all right?
It's his room.
We'll make room. We'll make room.
Charlie, don't turn it down.
We'll make
Don't
room.
you, not you.
So,
Mrs. Moran, I want you to step up
oh,
onto one or two of these committees too, okay? I think it'd be very good,
please.
please, all right?
So what's that date, sir, Mr. Superintendent?
I don't know, Wednesday, the last Wednesday of the month, April 24th
April 24th.
at 6.
Is that all right? Is that you?
Yeah, it's good.
Kara, is that okay with you, too? April, that's all right, April 24th at 6 o'clock, is that okay for you?
God's sakes, your first assignment, and here you are, you're talking to somebody else.
April 24th, 24th, excuse me.
What day? April?
Wednesday, the 24th.
We can put it off a year. That should be fine.
It had to be funny. All right.
6 o'clock.
Mr. Irving, policy?
We have not met, but do we have anything coming up?
Not new, no, we
We
met.
do, we do have it coming up for an annual agenda for June, so maybe before the June meeting, we can just have a brief meeting. But I think we're all set for May.
Yeah.
What about wastewater?
We didn't need a meeting this month, Mr. Chairman. We will be meeting next month.
When's that walkover with the contractor?
Jared, do you or David, do you know when the contractor gets the walkthrough on the bid?
Wastewater.
No, I'll find that out.
Okay.
Could you please? Thank you.
All right, next regular meeting day is May 8th at 7 PM. Okay, everybody get that?
And plant operation at 6.
Right.
Okay, plant operations early that night at 6. All right. Any new business to come before the committee? Now, look, we're not going to adjourn, we're going to go into an executive session, then we're going to return from executive session into open meeting, and then we will adjourn. So I have to read this. I need a motion to enter into executive session under Chapter 30A, Section 21, subsections 2 and 3, to consider non-union contracts and pending litigation, and upon completion of executive session, will return to open session. I need a voice vote on this. Am I correct? Am I
Mr. Chairman,
doing
yeah,
this?
can I ask that the building principal remain also, please?
Okay. All right, so Mr. Lesage?
Second on that, or?
Oh, I need a second, yes.
Second.
Okay, thank you. And now I need a voice vote, correct? Mr. Lesage?
Yes.
Mr. Burns?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Tui?
Yes.
Mr. LaBella?
Yes.
Mr. Early?
No.
Okay, Mr. Irving?
Aye.
No.
Mr. Tucker?
No, wait, no.
Yes.
No.
Ms. Moran?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
And I say yes. All right, we're in open session now. At this point, I would like to have a motion to approve the recommendation for the five-year contract for the principal.
I'd like to move that.
I
Second.
have a motion, and I have a second from Mr.
Ryan.
Mr.
Burns,
Yeah,
Mr.
Mr.
Burns
Burns,
and
Mr. Ryan, okay,
I
thank
made
you.
the motion, he seconded it.
And do I need a roll call on this?
No. Open session.
All in favor?
Roll call. For the contract?
Don't need a roll call.
No, an open session.
No open session, we're all set.
No.
Do you want,
You wanna-
you want to request it, Sean?
You want to request a roll call?
Request.
I would request it.
Sure, let's do that, won't hurt. Tony?
Morning.
Mr. Lesage? Mr. Burns?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Tui?
No.
Mr. LaBella?
Yes.
Mr. Irving?
Aye.
Mr. Tucker?
Yes.
Mrs. Moran?
What is this for, just the 5-year term?
Just a five-year contract, yeah. To
You've
approve
already
the
voted.
principal's recommendation.
Vote the same. You gotta vote the same.
Right.
Okay.
I just want to make sure.
Yep.
That's
that
fine,
was the
yeah.
same thing.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
And I'm yes. Thank you. It's done.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion to adjourn in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.